Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the First Universalist Church of Yarmouth. My name is John Albel. I'm the worship assistant this morning and part of the worship council. And I'm so glad to greet you here this morning. Good morning again. A warm welcome to all of you gathered here in the sanctuary this morning, and as well to our friends on Zoom that are joining us. At First Universalist, our mission is to explore our faith, embrace this community, and to engage the world as spiritual leaders. May we take these words to heart. If this is your first time in the congregation, we invite you to fill out a connection card. You'll find it in front of you in your pew, so we may connect you to programs here that might interest you. You can drop this card into the offering plate when it is passed later in our service. For those joining us with young children, nursery care is available during our service for babies and toddlers. Our nursery is located just outside this door and down the hallway on the left. Following our service, all are invited to gather for coffee hour, our time of friendship, and fellowship downstairs in the gathering room. Before we begin our service, we have 3 announcements, the first 2 which will be shared by Sarah Whitty.
Good morning. I just want to highlight 2 things you'll find in your Sunday morning news. The first is about our annual campaign. We're getting close. We have maybe $10,000 left to find and give with heart and soul. There are a number of our perennials. That means people who keep the same pledge each year or let us know if they want to grow it. There's a number of you who we haven't heard from. Great time to let us know you're there and you want to grow it. And if you already gave your perennial pledge, you might, if you just want to make it a little bit more, if things are okay for you and you can do that, that would be very welcome. And then we also have a number of people who commit annually to next year's budget. And you are welcome to let us know anytime what your commitment is going to be, and then we'll hit the finish line. We're getting there. And thank you so much to everybody who's been coming through. So again, like I said last week, I sort of think of it as taking the love you have, turning it into a number, and then making it into love when it comes here. Love happens, and energy, and good stuff, and people who work heart and soul for us. So please do all you can. And then we'll be all finished with this annual cycle and ready to commit to next year's programs. Next thing is I just wanted to mention the Main Farm Supper, which is in 3 weeks from last night. And so you can now go to our website, buy your tickets. You can also see me or go online to commit to work the Friday or Saturday. It's really fun. We have a blast. It's a great way to commit to one quick thing. If you don't want to join a committee, etc., just come on in and chop stuff and laugh and get to know a few new friends. So see me downstairs if you'd like to talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And for our third announcement, following our service at 11:45, Reverend Hillary will hold a discussion on our February all-church read called Rough Sleepers. All are welcome, whether you've read the book or not, to join in this conversation about homelessness and about actions we might take to alleviate this crisis. Bring your coffee and join us downstairs in the common room. I have read the book, and I can see the point. You don't have to read the book to engage in this conversation. Please join us. And now, I invite you to take a deep breath, big stretch, as we settle into this time together. Our guest musician, Maria Wagner, will lead us into worship.
Thank you, Maria, and welcome back. Good morning, everyone. How are you? It is so good to see you and be together on this wicked Marchy morning, huh? Gosh, it's almost spring. How many days? Can anyone do that quick math? 17? 18? Something like that. A couple weeks till spring. I'm Reverend Hillary. I serve as the minister here in this church that is built upon Wabanaki land that sits on the banks of a sacred river once called the Wescustigo, and it is with transformative peace and friendship that I say, whoever you are, wherever you're from, whomever you love, whatever it is you have done or have not done, you are welcome here. And we are so glad that you too have joined us in peace and friendship this morning. Friends, our theme this month is transformation. It's kind of a fun one. And today, in our service, with an eye toward our all-church read, Rough Sleepers, we'll consider what it takes to transform problems into possibilities. No problem. We have this. Our words of invocation this morning are a poem by the much-beloved poet Kim Stafford, who is the son of the much-beloved poet William Stafford. And Kim explains that he writes poetry to raise the human spirit and talk back to the darkness that often injures our spirits. I share his poem, perfect for this damp day, titled Advice from a Raindrop. You think you're too small to make a difference? Tell me about it. You think you're helpless, at the mercy of forces beyond your control? Been there. Think you're doomed to disappear, just one small voice among the millions? That's no weakness, trust me. That's your wild card, your trick, your implement. They won't see you coming until you're there, in their faces, shining, festive, expendable, eternal. Sure, you're small, just one small part of a storm that changes everything. That's how you win, my friend, again and again and again and again. Good morning, my mighty friends. Let's pause here to take another breath. Take in this moment and listen closely as our choir sings us a prayer. And friends, will you now rise in body and spirit with me now and join in singing our opening hymn, number 112 in your gray hymnal, Do You Hear? And with our spirits and bodies lifted now, will you join me in the words of our unison affirmation, written in your order of service? We are united in seeking to increase love with justice and to constitute a free church open to all people, mindful of our past and drawing upon modern knowledge. We respond to the spiritual needs of persons and are devoted to the common good in community, nation, and world. We cherish the integrity of each individual and search for truth with reason as our guide. We respect differences of opinion and strive to be a democratic community. We are concerned with this world and open to the future. Thank you all. You may be seated. And I welcome our friend John back up to light our chalice this morning.
Good morning. Can I have all the kids who would like to come up and help light the chalice? Come on down. All the fun's happening up here. All right. Fabulous. Ready to go? Now, do you know what I like about the chalice? You know what it means? Whenever we light the chalice and every time somebody lights a candle, I feel like it releases a little bit of love and kindness, and I can feel it in my heart every single time. So let's see if that happens today, this morning.
I can light them by myself and my family. Or by myself, not even a grown-up doesn't even help me.
You must be practicing. We light our chalice in peace and friendship. Everyone make a way. Bravo, thank you.
Good morning, Gwen. Good morning, Mac. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So today we are thinking about transformation. And one thing that can transform is transforming people we don't really know into friends.
Wow, that's an awesome analogy that I haven't thought of.
Yeah. So what we are going to do today is something that I apologize to the introverts for. I'm so sorry. And to the extroverts, you're welcome. Inside your order of service, you might have noticed, is a UU relationship bingo. So there are 6 items here. You are going to turn and talk to your neighbors. You can pick one, you're probably not going to get to all 6, and try to see if you can find someone who has something similar in common with you. And you know what, Mac?
What, Gwen?
Okay, if you like it, keep it, bring it to coffee hour, talk some more, make friends.
That's exciting. I can't wait.
Okay, all right, ready, set,
Bingo.
bingo.
So underneath, how you feel about your favorite UU hymn?
Okay, I was gonna say, we don't agree on this one.
No, I don't either.
I'm boring.
That's a good one. Come now, God, give every blessing and abide with me. Ones we don't do very often because they're pretty God. See, but you just say that you never rebelled and found Jesus. You found God. That's the closest you're gonna get to Jesus.
I mean, going to church every week is a big deal.
Are your parents Are they conservative or you guys?
That's gonna work. All right, all right. So did you answer all the big questions? Did you make some new friends? Maybe. Did anyone actually find someone who had one of the things that were similar to them? Oh, yeah, some of you did. Nice. All right. Well, this morning, come on up, Mac. So this
back.
morning in Children's Chapel, we're going to think more about change and transformation, and we are going to make oobleck, that when you squeeze it together, it's hard, and when you let it go, it's soft.
And in junior youth group, we'll be transforming an area in the common room, gathering room, whichever one it is, that into our UU Values mural.
Fun. All right. And now we're going to do our children's blessing. We are Unitarian, Universalists, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
Coming down from that introverted time, we now come to the time we set aside in our service for the introverts, a time of quiet prayer and meditation. This is a time to reflect on the events of the past week, look forward to what might come in the hours and days ahead, offer a prayer to someone who could really use a prayer, or just be here now in the fullness of this moment. Following our quiet, we'll have a time to light candles. But first, friends, will you join me in taking a deep, refreshing breath in, a calming breath out, and relax into a sacred time of quiet. At this time, all are welcome to come forward and light a silent candle for the prayers and the meditations you keep today. Though we'll not be sharing our feelings out loud this morning, our gathered community and I hold your joys and sorrows with you right now and always. If you'd like to light a candle, just come forward, take a candle from our basket here, light from our chalice, and set it in our box of collective sand. We ask that you start from the far end of the pot and move steadily towards the pulpit, being careful never to reach over a flame. For our friends joining us virtually, please write in the chat if you'd like to have a candle lit for you in the sanctuary right now. And I also invite you to light candles at home during this time. Friends, does anyone need to light a candle this morning?
I'm lighting candles today for two dear people that I lost last week, my brother and my boyfriend of 56 years. And both would be astonished to see me lighting candles in a church for them.
My friends, will you take another breath with me? As we reflect on the joys and sorrows present in our own lives, and these bright, flickering flames here, representing the prayers and meditations of our beloved community, I invite you to join me now in a prayer of loving kindness, of metta, a prayer that's meant to surface the limitless compassion we all possess. If you like, you can repeat these lines after me out loud, or silently to yourself, or just listen. I'll recite the prayer 3 times, first for ourselves, next for others, and finally for all of us. As you say these words, imagine they are catching a breeze, a nice fresh spring breeze that's gliding across the world, touching everyone who needs to hear them and feel them, which is everyone. Will you join me now in this prayer? Taking a breath, holding ourselves. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live in safety. May I know peace. Thinking of others now, those close to you that you know very well, those far away you don't know at all, holding them. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live in safety. May you know peace. And expanding the circle now, including yourself in it, feeling the life that abounds within and around you. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we live in safety. May we know peace. Let it be so, and amen. Our friend John will now introduce our offering this morning. Thanks, John.
With love at our center, this week's half-plate recipient is Wabanaki Reach. Reach supports the self-determination of Wabanaki people through education, truth-telling, and restorative practice in Wabanaki and Maine communities. Speaking truths and elevating difficult conversations about Wabanaki culture and ways of being with grace and hope is its ongoing work. When people more deeply understand what happened, they innately wish to be a part of writing a different history for our grandchildren. Reach also engages in Wabanaki wellness work and provides assistance to Wabanaki families. For those in the sanctuary this morning, we will be passing the offering plate to one another. For those gathered with us online, you're invited to make your offering using the donate button in the order of worship or by dropping a check in the mail. Thank you.
Thank you so much, choir. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Maria. Friends, will you now rise as you are able and join in singing our song of thanksgiving? The short verses are written in your order of worship. Thank you all for your generosity. You may be seated. Our reading this morning is a poem by Gwendolyn Brooks, one of the most important and influential poets in American literature and a prophetic voice in the civil rights movement and beyond. I share her poem, Speech to the Young, Speech to the Progress Toward. Say to them, say to the down keepers, the sun slappers, the self-soilers, the harmony hushers, even if you are not ready for day, it cannot always be night. You will be right, for that is the hard home run. Live not for the battles won. Live not for the end of the song. Live in the along. Live in the along. There's a scene towards the beginning of Rough Sleepers, our all-church read this past month, where Dr. Jim O'Connell has reached the end of another long week, and he's sitting in a pub. O'Connell is the central figure in Rough Sleepers. He's a doctor who served the unhoused population of Boston for over 40 years. In this Friday evening scene at Doyle's pub, though, we meet Jim early in his career. He's just begun working at a large shelter in Boston's South End and barely beginning to wrap his head around the enormity of the homelessness crisis and ways of providing a continuity of care for those who live unhoused, unsupported, and more often than not, unseen by society. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, O'Connell arrives at the shelter raring to make a difference, but is immediately given a reality check by the head nurse, Barbara McInnes, a lay Franciscan whose life was guided by three principles: service, simplicity, and kindness to all creatures. Upon his valiant arrival, Barbara tells Jim to take off his stethoscope and get to work soaking the feet of the guests, which was all he did for the next month. This order to soak the guests' feet was not to cut Jim down a notch, though it certainly did. Rather, it was to teach him how to listen, how to relate, and how to prioritize the experiences of others over his own Harvard-educated medical opinions. Last week, Reverend Carolyn Eklund preached up here on the prophetic call to neighbor love. As one reads Rough Sleepers, you of course find yourself in awe of Jim O'Connell's mission to bring healing to homeless people, but it is Barbara McInnes who is the prophet here. It is she who voices this call. In an interview with Harvard Magazine following Barbara's death in 2003, Jim shared that she retrained him how to slow down and taught him to serve, not to control. To serve. not to control, to live in the along. As Jim sat in the pub that Friday at the end of that long week of soaking the feet of folks with AIDS and TB symptoms, people with lesions and tumors, people inebriated and in withdrawal, people with profound grief and loneliness and deep longings just to be touched, he sat at the bar next to Barbara. As Tracy Kidder, the author of Rough Sleepers, narrates, Jim would generally try to mimic the steadiness that Barbara so gracefully modeled and try not to voice the litany of frustrations and anxieties that ebbed continuously in his brain. One night, though, Kidder writes, Jim rebelled against this practice and ranted to her, "How could this country treat people this way? How could any American, homeless or not, never have had their own doctor? Never have even seen one, never have been given a screening, never been given anything? How could a hospital send people out onto the street with no platelets in their blood?" Kidder writes, Barbara just sat there, listening. And when Jim had exhausted his litany, she responded calmly, "Jim, you're a doctor. You're not God. There are things you can't fix. You just have to do your work. We don't want saints and zealots here. We want flawed human beings who do their job. Just let this be an ordinary job. Live not for the battles won. Live not for the end of the song. Live in the along." In reading reviews of Rough Sleepers and talking about it here and there with folks, I've been struck by the criticism I've heard about the book. Mainly that the book doesn't provide a solution to the homelessness crisis. Just a whole lot of upsetting and confounding statistics and vignettes of the people Jim O'Connell served and worked alongside. I argue, though, that these numbers and these stories are offering a solution. A solution that both Joanne Arnold and Reverend Carolyn Eklund lifted up in their recent sermons here. A solution to all sorts of societal ailments we regularly contemplate together here. This grand transformative solution? Relationship. When we are in relationship with another, we are connected to them. We care about what happens to them, and they care about what happens to us. When they suffer, we hurt. When we suffer, they hurt. When joy and love are present, we share and feel it together. The first step of relationship begins by recognizing a shared humanity. That is, to see another person as real, alive and feeling, flawed, but possessing an inherent worth and dignity, just like us. The stories told in Rough Sleepers of Jim and Barbara's relationships with the homeless folks they serve remind us, teach us of the humanity of people who suffer from homelessness. When Joanne Arnold spoke here in January about her experience photographing and serving unhoused folks in Portland, she was joined by her friend Kenny Wayne Beek, a formerly homeless man. Kenny bookended Joanne's message with 2 songs he'd written. The first was titled, "A Person Like Anyone Else." And as he strummed the pretty nice guitar he somehow found at the dump one day, he sang this refrain, "Perhaps I'm a person like anyone else. I need shoes and clothes to wear and maybe a house. I need to eat. I feel a hunger. I may need a helping hand. And I can see we need each other to build the promised land." In these times, my friends, relationship is what's called for. Our connection to each other must be on the forefront of our minds right now, no matter the comfort or discomfort this causes. Because our connections to each other, to the people here in this room right now, to the people you inhabit, to the people in the spaces you inhabit each day, to the people on the streets of Portland and Boston and cities across the country, to the people far away on the wastelands of Ukrainian meadows and the obliterated neighborhoods of Gaza, our connections to all these people, no matter what effort we put into them, our connections to them exist and are interdependent. When they suffer, we suffer. When they are free, we are free. We need each other to build the promised land. So, connection now, humanity now, relationship now, transformation now, ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. It's okay. It's a lot. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. But it's good stuff. If I was at the pub with Barbara, I don't think I'd be able to keep my ranting and raving to myself right now. Which is why, of all the vignettes in Rough Sleepers, it is that scene of Jim and Barbara at the bar that has stayed with me most vividly. Like a balm, like a mantra, I keep coming back to it. It reminds me not to get caught up in the enormity of fixing huge and horrible problems, but rather to stay right here, to do what's in front of me, to live in the along, to be my very flawed human self, doing the ordinary job of serving others, remembering connection, seeing humanity, being in relationship. During their time working together, Barbara McInnes gave Jim O'Connell, these Irish names, right? Barbara McInnes, Jim O'Connell. Barbara McInnes gave Jim O'Connell a photocopied piece of paper with a little prayerful poem written on it. It read, "Just give love. The soul will take that love and put it where it can best be used." And Jim initially thought these lines were rather trite and contrived, but he kept the paper and found he kept returning to it again and again until one day when he ended up just framing it and putting it on his office wall. Just give love. The soul will take that love and put it where it can best be used. Friends, there are many ways to make changes in the lives of those around you and in the world at large. And I argue that it all starts by being in relationship. No societal change is going to be made by a single individual, nor in isolation, nor by thinking you can fix everything, nor by sitting and ruminating on how terrible, horrible, no good, and very bad it all is. We must live in the along. We must maintain, strengthen, and expand our relationships with everybody. We need each other to build the promised land. And hey, for those who are ready to get extra activated, there are things you can do right now to support a solution to the housing crisis in Maine. You can start by joining our discussion of Rough Sleepers after the service today. Get in relationship with folks here. See what happens when we're together. You can volunteer at places like the Gathering Place in Brunswick, Preble Street in Portland. You can donate money to all kinds of orgs like those I just mentioned and Yarmouth Cares About Neighbors. There's a fundraiser on March 13th for Tedford Housing in Yarmouth at the Community Center, at the Community House at 5:30. And all proceeds from our farm supper on Saturday, March 23rd, are going to Tedford too. So come on down to that. On March 13th, there's also a rally for affordable housing at the State House in Augusta from 9 to noon. This is to push our elected leaders to pass legislation that will provide funding for shelters and rent relief. Let me know if you want to go. And during the last week of April, we'll again be covering evening and overnight shifts at the State Street Shelter for New Manor families in Portland. And we'll be posting signups for these very soon. You know, in the meantime, as you're sitting at the intersections on Marginal Way and Forest Ave, anywhere, in so many towns across our state, say hello to the person who might be standing there with a sign asking for love, asking for money. Give them some cash. Say hello. Reach out your hand, see if they'll shake it. Make a connection. Feel a connection. The spirit of life present between you. Opportunities for relationship are constant. Constant. So, in the meantime, keep exploring, embracing, and engaging the relationships in your life. Express love. The soul will know what to do with it. Everything matters. You think you're too small to make a difference? Sure, you're small. Just one small part of a storm that can change everything. So connection now, humanity now, ceasefire now. Blessed be our flawed selves. Blessed be our ordinary jobs. Blessed be our love. And blessed be the along. Amen, beloveds. Let it be so. And when you're ready, why not take another breath and rise in body and spirit. Join in singing our closing hymn, number 318, We Would Be One. Will you remain standing for a closing time of prayer? Thank you all so much for being here this morning. I hope you have a mellow and manageable week. May all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings experience profound joy and the causes of profound joy. May all beings have shoes and clothes to wear and a home to return to throughout their days. And may all of us build the promised land and get free. And will you join me in the words of our unison benediction written in your order of service? For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, may life return your affection. For those who come to seek a path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step. Go in peace, my friends. Our choir will sing us on our way. The service begins when the service ends.